Hi, I'll just give you a brief introduction of Campus Sutra and then we'll start with the session, right? Campus Sutra is the biggest bootstrap fashion brand in the country. We do about 350 crores in revenue, and we have built this profitably from year one. Now we are in the year 8 of our journey. We are the only brand to be present in about 22 countries across 3 continents, right? Also, we have 500 offline locations. So that's briefly about us. Sindhu, you can give
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Sindhu. I head the growth and marketing team at BetterHalf. It's a matrimony app. The idea was to build a new generation matrimony app that competes with Shadi.com and BharatMatrimony.com. Currently, we have somewhat around 1 million, 1.5 million MAUs, monthly active users, pan-India operations. What we are trying to do right now is slightly getting bullish on wedding services, wedding events, which is massive in India. So yeah, that's what we currently do.
So I'm personally very excited about this event because Sindhu has an experience which is very varied from mine, right? We have been looking at this entire brand marketing and digital marketing from a product side. And Sindhu has a lot of experience over the last 6 years in the service side, right? So I'm really looking forward to learning from him. Sindhu, I'm sure you'd have seen a lot of these, product marketers or companies which are basically D2C or, product companies, right? How is that different from a service company approaching digital marketing?
So I think one of the good things that service companies do is we have marketing stack that can track from a right customer seeing the first ad to the end of the purchase and where it is coming from. So the attribution is very tight. So if you see Rapido's marketing or Cred's marketing or whatever, they can even pinpoint target ki okay, if the person saw this ad at 10 a.m., will the person buy at 10 p.m. in the night or not? So the predictive analytics and everything is great. What has marketing tech industry has done is they have focused a lot on services industry to crack predictions and everything. And that gives us a lot of leverage. So the product marketers and the growth marketers in marketing works around a lot of data, a lot of stack. But I think one thing I will agree that the marketing folks in services are lacking on the revenue side. They are first funnel, mid funnel heavy, while the product side marketers are pretty solid on revenue and sales.
Sure. So if somebody is starting a company, right, on the service side, how would somebody just approach it, right? What would be the first 2-3 steps? I think the audience that we have here, from my understanding, is the SMB who are kind of looking at starting companies, right? So if there's somebody who's just starting a business now, what are the first 2-3 things he or she needs to do to kind of get the ball rolling?
Right. So in this point, I have tried a multiple stuff and I've failed a lot. The current thing that I think that works after my consulting experience and everything is the first thing that you should be doing is getting a performance marketer on board. But the problem here is if a founder do not understand how to interview a performance marketer, that is a primary challenge. One thing that works is outsourcing the last round of interview to a person who is inside the industry. So for an example, if I have been reached out by some folks who are founders of the companies, like, okay, can you please take the last round of interview? Because there is a bias that internally already has happened. That is part one. Part two is getting, who do you get as a brand person on your team? The traditional method is you look for brand managers working with somewhere. That does not work. And the reason is this, that someone who has scaled 100 company to a 1 lakh is not equal to starting from 0 to 100. It's a complete different mindset altogether. 0 to 100 needs challenging the status quo, challenging the playbook and everything. It's far better you get someone who is a content creator who runs a meme page sitting out of Bihar and get him on board and let him handle your brand or content or social media. He or she will do a far better job than any brand marketer person. So content creator designated as a brand person, one. Performance marketer who actually understands and has an experience in D2C, part two. Part three is someone who is handling the data side and the mid-funnel conversion rate. So website mein, where do we put our product? Product similar pages, how do we place that? How do we automate emails? How do we automate SMS? Very hard stuff to find these guys, but do not outsource agencies. I have not found, like, I can generate a ton of money if I open my own agency because there are a lot of people looking for that, but I will never ask for agency to do that. I have not helped. But what are your thoughts on this? How do you?
So I'll tell you my experience, right? We are a firm believer, and this has been one of the ethos or values at Campus Sutra, that we try to gain an understanding of things before we scale up, right? So I remember when we started Campus Sutra, right? We started it from a 400 square feet office in a building which was supposedly haunted. तो वहाँ स्टोरी थी कि यार ये भूत रहता है, तो 32 साल से वो खाली था. 32 years it was, it was lying vacant and very very near to this hotel, in fact, just half a kilometer from here. So we got this for $8,000, and that's how we started. Now we have a 150,000 square feet facility that we have developed, right? One of the biggest D2C setup. So even when we started digital marketing, the first thing that we did was we had to understand at least the basics of it. Otherwise, you have a lot of people like Sindhu and a lot of other guys who come and talk, and we would not get a sense of what's happening, right? So we spent a lot of time in terms of training at least the top 3-4 co-founders, and getting a sense of how digital marketing is currently being run, right? So, and again, we divided that into broadly into two sessions, right, or two modules. The first module was we got people who were just trainers, who were teaching basic digital marketing, giving you a basic download of how Facebook works, how Insta works, how Google Analytics is set up, what are the data points to look at, what are the KPIs to look at, and all that, right? And the second part of this module was getting industry experts, right, who could give us strategies and who could give us hacks in terms of how to scale it. So that in a way set us up in terms of getting a basic understanding कि ये beast क्या है, ये कैसे चलता है, क्या करना है, what are the different things that you should be looking after. So I think that's like very very important. And as a founder, I think that's, if I have to bring forward one point, that is the first point I would bring forward, right? Don't look at digital marketing as something that you can outsource or you can get one guy from Facebook or Google and he'll run it for you. You need to have a basic understanding of how this entire stack works. That's like really 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 important. And the second thing I think is there are a lot of jargons flying around in terms of digital marketing, right? Everybody will come and tell you something new and something high flying. You need to understand that at what stage your business is and what is most important. So especially from a product perspective, I think if you are in the 1 to 20 crore bracket, right, the only thing you should be focusing on is ROAS. कि भैया मैं कितना खर्च कर रहा हूँ और कितना पैसा आ रहा है. Right? You should not be looking at how do I set up the best CRM or how do I set up XYZ and things like that, right? Once you cross the 20 crore, then the priorities change, right? Then you have to increase the funnel size. So you have to start looking at what is the funnel that you are creating, what are the activities that you are doing for top of the funnel, how are you kind of expanding that, what are the things that will help you improve the middle of the funnel and things like that. But the priorities need to be very clear, otherwise people will get lost. Initially, what stage my business is in and मुझे क्या करना है. And I think these are like really really important. And third is मुझे लगता है digital marketing standalone is worth nothing, right? For digital marketing to work, the entire company has to work in unison. So you might have the best digital marketing team or you might be working with some of the best guys, right? But if they are not getting the adequate support from the product team, from a good creative team, from your ops team and all that, it will never work. So whenever you're investing time, energy on digital marketing, when you start to think that D2C is important for you or your website is important for you, you need to create a structure in your team which is kind of geared up to deliver that.
True. I think one of the interesting points that you just covered is ROAS. I'll just add 2 to 3, not in sync with ROAS, but what I have learned with time is. What I generally see when someone starts a company around at least this segment, that there is always a question that I keep on getting, okay, should I start my social media and where do I start my social media? 2 to 3 things I'll just tell you what you should not do. What you should do, you might get a lot of blogs and everything. One, everyone knows Facebook is not working at this point of time. If you're trying to build a Facebook page, you as a brand, it's not mandatory that okay, you have to be on everywhere. Like okay, LinkedIn bhi chahiye, Instagram bhi chahiye, Facebook bhi chahiye. The idea of building social networking and building a social media page is you build distribution. Why do you want distribution? Branding is not an input. Branding is an output that you get out of the distribution. So if someone is telling you, okay, this is how you build your brand, no. You do certain kind of stuff, like as you said, okay, marketing has to be in sync with creatives, operations, sales. That's how you build a brand. So marketing is not equal to branding. That is point 1. Point 2 is whichever social media you can crack, you think, in terms of internal capacity, just focus on that. It's okay to be just on Instagram, not on YouTube. It's absolutely fine. But let me just tell you what are the metrics that you should be tracking. followers are the most irrelevant metric that all the founders keep on running after. It's a full vanity metric. Let me tell you, so before this, I was heading marketing and growth at Filter Copy Dice Media, India's pretty largest Instagram page you can ever see on YouTube. What do we track there? We never tracked followers. What we tracked were weekly shares. Share ka growth week on week, day per day, content per content. Once you move that, what starts happening is this, that you know which content gets you more shares, you know which content does not get you more shares. How share is relevant? More share means more reach means more profile visit means more link in click bio. All the brands here put a link in bio thing. So that particular graph will only go up when these metrics go up. So which means you need to understand what is a shareable content. And that's what is the hardest thing to find out. Okay. And that's what the content creation comes into place. So if you do an interview, do not ask the brand manager how to build a brand. Ask the brand manager, give me a playbook or give me an assignment where you just say what are the 5 content that you will create which will get me more shares. That's all. If you are convinced with the rationale, everything is cracked. But these are the primary things that you should be doing. The problem is you will not hear these advices until you talk to people who are actually challenging the status quo. And these people are rare to find. Hence, generally what I do is if I see a LinkedIn bio which says I'm a brand builder, I generally do not talk to them. But if I see a LinkedIn bio which is very specific that, okay, grew ROS or something, I give them money and I say that, okay, boss, 1 ghanta baat kar lo mere se. The only thing I ask them, okay, what is the thing that did not work for you? I make notes, that's all. So if someone is saying what has worked, it will not repeat. But if someone says what will not work, that is much more valuable. That is what at least I have done.
And just to add to the brand thing, right? Very honestly, we have a very different take on a brand, right? While I have done my MBA in marketing and stuff like that, I'm the biggest non-marketer, if there's a word like that, right? I think marketing is not just showing some ad or getting Shah Rukh Khan or any XYZ to kind of, and this happens even in performance marketing, कि ये brand marketing का budget है. Basically, कोई भी यदि performance marketer आपको deliver नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो वो बोलेगा ये brand marketing का budget है, right? क्योंकि उसका कुछ सर पे नहीं है. There is no accountability. He can spend it anyways he wants, and there's nothing coming out of that. For me, and a brand is what is the experience that you're delivering to the customer. It is just not about what he or she is seeing on the Facebook or Instagram. It is about when the product reaches him or her, what is the experience with the product, what is the price value proposition, how is the packaging, how is your customer service. So in toto, whatever you're delivering to the customer is brand. So, and that's where I have a different opinion in terms of, especially when you're starting a company. If for the first 20-25 crores, just creating awareness that Shah Rukh Khan is advertising for that brand is not good enough. It is about reaching the maximum number of people and ensuring that they experience your product or service, right? Because that's what creates long-lasting brand and association. So and very honestly, I think the power of a brand is being able to do it without spending too much of money on marketing. So if I'm just able to reach you anyhow, right, and you buy a Campus Sutra product or one of the other brand products that we have, and you love that, right, you create a brand. It is the most difficult way to create a brand, but it is the long-lasting way of creating a brand. We have reached, I think, about 1.2 crore people since our inception, right? We have spent 1% of the marketing money that most of the other guys have spent in our space, right? But whenever we do studies and we look at the price elasticity for our brand or awareness for our brand, we find that it is much better than a lot of other guys, right? And it is only achieved through experience. People have bought the product, they love the product or they hated the product, and that has created association, that has created brand. So even in performance marketing, you should never forget that. कोई भी initially especially, right, when you're starting, कोई भी आके बोलता है कि आपको ब्रांड मार्केटिंग करनी है, आपको इतना पैसा खर्च करना है to create your awareness and all that, please just kind of stay away. That would be my advice, right? Because it is about getting that sale. Get that sale initially for the first, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 numbers. That will give you a lot of learnings to create a brand.
No, absolutely true. Like I have done my marketing as well. I was trained for that. Ki, okay, paisa uda, Shah Rukh Khan leke aao. But no, I think I have my own learning on that thing as well. But I think the most simplest approach on this front is this, that performance marketing monthly, let's say 1 crore you keep on doing. Let's say brand marketing, you have 2 lakhs. if month on month, your CPC or whatever cost that you're tracking is not going down, then your brand marketing is not working. It's that simple. So 6 month ka total brand marketing budget ka objective is just to get the performance marketing ka cost down on a long term. That's how you calculate brand marketing. Nothing else. At least that happens on apps that I keep on working with. Apps track in the same way. The objective is to get the cost per registration or cost per mid funnel down. Get your brand searches up. So month on month, either you do a Google SEO tracking and see if your brand searches are up or not. So if you do a Shah Rukh Khan ad, let's say whatever cost he might take, if your brand searches are upwards by let's say only 2%, you can't justify that cost. That makes no sense. Why am I doing Shah Rukh Khan? Or if you say that, okay, my relevancy of doing this is ki, okay, I cannot go to smaller towns because no one will trust me. The reason I'm getting him on board is because I'm trying to crack trust. Trust is equal to CTRs of your ad. If by putting Shah Rukh Khan, your CTRs of your ad are not going up, then that trust logic is also not working. So the point is, every rationale that you put on brand marketing can be cracked by one or other metric, but it can be cracked. So it is not vague that okay, ki kar lein kuch bhi hoga. But I had a question for you because this is what I keep on struggling, and a lot of my fellow marketers also, that how do you take accountability for what will be the budget of influencer marketing, and how do you take a call ki okay, isko rakhna, isko nahi rakhna? How do you take it?
So I think influencer marketing is just beginning to take shape in India, right? Last 2-3 years, or maybe more than that, right? We have been hearing about influencer marketing, but till even last year, the impact of any influencer marketing campaign would be very limited, and then people would just pass it off कि ये brand marketing हो रही है, brand budget है, right? But only of late we are seeing influencers actually deliver numbers. So we had this influencer tie-up last week, right? And I was just sharing with Sindhu, when we were sitting there. So just one YouTube video, we got 8 lakhs of sales. One person coming and talking about the product for 2 minutes and 8 lakhs of sales. So for us, it was a aha moment that, that we are actually seeing influencers who are delivering, right? So I think again, वहाँ पर बहुत simple है, right? In terms of कोई भी आके आपको यदि ब्रांड का ज्ञान देता है या फिर इसका ज्ञान देता है कि ये लॉन्ग टर्म एक्टिविटी है, you have to create brand salience over a period of time, just be a little careful. There are certain influencers who are relevant for that category. So, the influencer who delivers good numbers or who delivers good performance in apparel might not be the same who's delivering the good numbers in beauty and personal care or delivering in matrimonial, right? Usually there are certain people that the general janta trusts for a certain category. And this is for mid-level influencers. This is obviously not for Shah Rukh Khan, right? This is for any guy. So, so you have to find who's the relevant guy or person or girl who is relevant for your category and then tie up with them. And that, to me, in the recent past, I started giving numbers. So it is actually a metric which is giving you ROAS, it is giving you numbers. So I think that's something very, very exciting that we are looking forward to.
I wanted to just add 2 to 3 hacks on the influencer side. Just wanted to understand how many of you out of this forum understands or has ever attempted YouTube influencers ever in their life, or has done a YouTube collaboration with anything? Okay, very, very, very few. How many of you know YouTube community post? Have you ever heard of that or something? Okay, so I'll just slightly also brief you out. So what happens is, if I'm running a YouTube channel, I have the capacity to put a community post. That is nothing but a Facebook feed mein jaise hota hai. You can write anything, you can do that. Let's say you have less money and you know that, okay, if you do, there are 2 ways to start a YouTube collaboration. Is either you make a video where production cost is yours, the influencer is just putting. That is part 1. Part 2, production is done by them, they are also putting, the cost goes higher. Let's say if you are thinking that, okay, that is the only way to do influencer marketing and the production cost will be what, 10 lakhs per video or something. There are interesting ways where you have not capitalized. Let me give you some examples. There is something called YouTube community post where a person can just do a post. Not a lot of brands are capitalizing on that. If any inventory is not capitalized in the market, the inventory cost will be very, very less because you have more room of negotiation. You can actually crack one post by only 5,000, 10,000 rupees of an influencer of 1 million. I have done that. Because वहाँ पे वो account manager को भी समझ नहीं आता, he is confused कि okay, what do I charge for this? End cards, video के end पे end cards होते हैं. No brand has ever capitalized on the end cards by saying कि okay मेरा brand का end card में लगा दो and आ जाएगा. The moment you reach out to the influencer and say कि okay I just want an end card, they're also confused again. So because why? Because the whole industry is running after Instagram swipe up link, and everyone knows कि okay if your views on Instagram story is 10,000, swipe up link will be 10. 10 स्वाइप अप लिंक क्लिक पे क्या ही सेल होगी, मतलब मेरे वेबसाइट के विजिटर ही 5 होंगे, सेल तो छोड़ो ऐड टू कार्ट भी नहीं आएगा. सो टेक दिस, बट आपने ऑलरेडी पेमेंट दे दिया है एक इन्फ्लुएंसर स्वाइप अप लिंक का व्हाट 20,000 30,000 और व्हाट्सएवर, डजंट मेक एनी सेंस. सो टेक दिस कॉल्स वेरी वेरी लॉजिकली बाय आस्किंग योर सेल्फ कि ओके डज दिस इन्वेंट्री मेक सेंस टू मी. वन, a lot of calls you can take by understanding the product, like let me talk about again the same swipe up link. The moment you click on swipe up link, it opens your browser inside Instagram. When was the last time you opened a browser Instagram app and did a purchase? Never ever. You always open inside Chrome and then do a purchase, not inside another social media and do a purchase. So you know ये तो clear cut मतलब काम ही नहीं करेगा. So a lot of marketing is logical, which I sometimes do not get why, but हो रहा है. But मार्केट में कंसल्टेंट्स चिपकाते रहते हैं, पैसा बनता रहता है सबका. सो जस्ट बट स्टे अवे फ्रॉम दीज stuff.
I think we can reach. We can just kind of open it up, right? Because we are speaking, we don't know what would be more relevant to the audience. So anything that you guys want to ask, it would be, you know, we would want to make it a little interactive. Anything you guys want to ask, then maybe we can answer that. Yeah.
So, see, marketing is, I'm a finance person, so I don't understand marketing, and I feel that earlier I was thinking finance is very tough. But when I started my own startup, I felt that nothing is tougher than marketing. You know, to make a person convinced about your product and, you know, making him or her buy is the toughest of what I felt. So, see, we have put our hands everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, as you mentioned that you should, you know, reach out your niche accordingly, you should select the social media. But we are like, no, we should be there everywhere, and we have started putting our money and efforts everywhere. So, but still, if I talk about my revenue, even 1% of my revenue till date, not even 1%, maybe 0.5 also, I have not received from social media. See, if I talk about branding, yes, with my social media and all, people knows that what is my brand. But how to get the revenue? See, we have done the Facebook ad. Everywhere we have spent a lot of money, we have burned a lot of money. But maybe they're not the right people we are finding it. And finding the right agency of social media. Facebook consultant, LinkedIn, we have changed, I think, more than 4 to 5 in last 3 years. But still, the latest one we have changed from last 3 months, still we are not satisfied. So just give some, you know, light that how to connect with the right person who can guide us, how to take our brand up.
So I think just to share our experience on this, right? दो चीज़ें, एक तो आपको समझ में आना चाहिए first and foremost, right? There is no substitute for that. You can't expect somebody else to run your business. That's one. Second, if your marketing is not working, it is time to look deeper, right? It may not only be marketing. It may also be product market fit, your proposition and all that. That's, I think, the second point that you should kind of, you know, according to me that, and we have seen this. So for example, for a long time when we started focusing on D2C, we kept focusing on marketing and we did not focus on the brand story that was coming out through the website, right? Ki once the person is coming on the website, what is his experience, how easy is the checkout, what is the, you know, flow of the entire thing and things like that, just what is the impression that the website is getting. So getting revenue out of the website is much more than just performance marketing or marketing. That's the second part. And I think third one, there's nothing wrong in kind of putting yourself in a lot of things, but you should be able to identify is what is working and then scale it up. So that's very, very important. You know, you don't, over a period of time, you don't need to do 100 things. You might start with 100 things, but यदि आपके लिए कुछ एक चीज चल रहा है, चाहे कुछ भी हो, email हो, you know, Instagram हो, Facebook हो, then you kind of cut down your effort, at least in the beginning, on everything else and just focus on that one thing and scale that. And once you are kind of, you know, reasonably confident that I have been able to crack this, then maybe you can go back and look at the other avenues.
With respect to early stage startup, considering B2B product market, product development startups and all, how important is the B2B with respect to marketing and branding? And consider if, as an early stage, if zero money is there with respect to marketing and branding, how exactly we can do effective marketing and branding with zero money, literally zero money?
So I think B2B, very honestly, तो हम इस कॉन्सेप्ट पे काम करते हैं. While we don't do B2B, right? We work on this concept कि जो भी हमारे stakeholders हैं, whoever is my stakeholder, he or she should have heard about our brand. So we do this internationally. कि if I am looking to work with XYZ, right, Walmart or somebody, right, I would go and target all the decision makers in Walmart, right? There I'm not looking at generating money or revenue and things like that. Just the fact that they've heard the brand name somewhere makes a huge difference when you connect with them the first time. And I think this will really work on B2B with whatever experience that we have in B2C, right? तो यदि कोई भी नया मार्केट है जहाँ पर उन्होंने आपका ब्रांड नेम नहीं सुना है versus just कहीं देखा है, even if it is in passing, he or she may have not bought it, but if somebody from your organization reaches out to them and they have seen your brand, they have seen your logo, कहीं उनको लगता है कि कुछ है, मतलब ऐसा, there's some कुछ जीव ऐसा है, that makes a huge difference. So I think that should be like the first step, right? And second, B2B 0 to 1, मुझे लगता है performance marketing, at least paid marketing is not the right forum to kind of drive that. Initially B2B marketing के लिए you need a strong sales team, you need somebody who can knock on the doors, get those numbers going. While at the same time you need to drive a lot of non-paid marketing, be it through LinkedIn, be it through other medias. And the third thing that I spoke about, I think that needs to be used selectively, just to create that little bit of brand awareness, or just to kind of get that name in their head. I think if you want to add something.
Yeah, I'll just add two things. If I'm running a B2B, what I will do if I don't have money. One, I will leverage on meme marketing. Why will leverage on meme marketing? Let me just tell you that meme gets distribution. Every B2B industry, it can be anything. It can be recruitment solving, it can be marketing, tech solutions, it can be cloud, whatever it is. There is a pain point that is relatable in that segment. So life of a marketer, you can create 1,000 memes. Life of a founder, you can create 1,000 memes on that. When you start doing that memes, it gets distribution so that you are reaching to more eyeballs. That is one. Second is podcasting. Podcasting is the best way to get a founder on board, tell a story. You are building a rapport on that front, and hence you can do a sales pitch at the end of the thing. So इससे 3-4 चीज़ें एक साथ achieve हो रही हैं. One is the story is coming out of everything, and one podcast will give you multiple bite-sized content that you can also put on LinkedIn. सिर्फ ये 2 चीज़ करूँगा. I'm pretty sure you will be able to reach out to a multiple audience in first 2 to 3 months. That's all.
Yeah. So far the things which we have discussed have been brilliant in terms of like where to spend money, how to get ROS. My question is one level above, like below this, how to build the story first, right? Because Dhiraj, especially for you, you have like almost moved from 400 square feet to now almost 400 CR. So how do you build that story? Obviously product is one thing that it's very strong, people are loving the product. But storytelling, how do you nail it? Like how do you get to that sweet point कि story nail कर दी है, अब पैसा spend करना है?
So very honestly वो हमारा weak point हुआ करता था, अभी भी है, very honestly, right? So for a long time जब हम बात करते थे या हमारी टीम से कोई बात करता था तो numbers बात करते थे. Okay, just to kind of do a quick poll. What is the revenue of Levi's in India? Wild guess. कितना होगा Levi's का revenue मतलब? हाँ? 10,000 crore, right? Anyone else? 700 crores. Okay. What else? So Levi's just does about 1,200 crores in India, right? तो किसी को 300-400 करोड़ बोलते थे तो हमें लगता था कि हम बिल्कुल 30 मार रहे हैं, but लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता numbers, very honestly, right? So lot of people, and we still don't have a PR guy in our company, to create a story. Over a period of time, what we realized is that story is beyond numbers. So that for us it was a eureka moment, right? So जो छोटी चीज़ें, for example, one thing which I use. So I come from a very, very small town. The place where I was born, the total population of that village was about 2,000, right? And मैं मतलब पहले I was the first guy who could speak English there. तो लोग सब दिखाते थे ये देखो इस लड़के को अंग्रेजी आती है types. That's the kind of place that I come from, right? So and now in our company we have 80 people from that village working, right? Which is a brilliant story, but we never realized, right? So now we get this, right? Wherever I tell this story, it gets a lot of eyeball. There's an instant connection. But for a long time, we never discussed about it, we never brought it out, right? So it took us a lot of learning कि जो आप naturally करते हैं, एक तो PR story होती है. You can make out, especially in these kind of forums, lot of founders coming and giving those PR stories which the investors and PR guys have seeded in, right? Which मुझे तो बहुत fake लगता है. But what we have tried over a period of time is just finding out things that you are doing, that you are discounting. Maybe just bring it out in front of few people, see the reaction, and then get that story. It's a very strong media that we have realized in the last 1.5 years. But one, it needs to be genuine, and second, थोड़ा soul searching करना पड़ता है. तो मतलब ये strong story है, right? Wherever I've spoken about this, I get reaction. But for the first 7 years, we never discussed it even internally.
I can just give you one example. The best story you can find is in your customer testimonial. Like I can give you one use case study. So for a matrimony app, सबसे best story is not the number of active users we have, not revenue, is when a person gets married. Now, if we are actually helping 20 people to get married, only 5 stories we get. The reason is 15 लोगों को नहीं रिपोर्ट करना है अपने फैमिली वालों को कि वो ऐप से मिले थे, तो उनको लगता है ये लव मैरिज है और वो अरेंज मैरिज बोल के आए हुए हैं. दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम वी फेस. Then how do we crack a mechanism कि okay हमें पता कैसे चलेगा कि okay if someone has got married. So what we did is a product innovation कि okay when someone deletes the app, we ask 5 questions, out of which one question is I found a partner. Click, that data is stored for 7 days. After 7 days that data gets deleted. In the 7 days the call goes, and in the call we send that hey we want to give you a gift or something, and उसी time पे we ask you okay can we get a confirmation that okay can we use in a marketing material. In that particular thing, the brand teams kick in. हम उनके घर जाते हैं, उनसे स्टोरी निकलवाते हैं कि how a techie meets a blogger, and वहाँ से beautiful stories निकलती हैं. That is my marketing ad, that is my testimonial and everything, and these stories sell. That's all. अगर आपके पास ये भी स्टोरी नहीं है ना, तो फाउंडर स्टोरीज जो इन्होंने कहा,
very strong tool. Founder stories हमें अभी realize हो रहा है last 1.5-2 years, especially for the initially D2C brands ये वो. बट क्या है जब आप मतलब वो PR स्टोरीज देते हैं ना, लोगों को समझ में आ जाता है, you know. So you need to find genuine stories that's actually happening in your company, and they're a very strong medium. There's an instant connection. अभी काफ़ी जगह ऐसे होता है कि you know people don't still when I come talk about Campus Sutra, people don't know about Campus Sutra, but उसको याद रहता है यार वो गांव से था लड़का. You know, so genuine stories, if you just bring it out, I think it really helps in creating that brand connection. Anything else?
Hi. I have a slightly technical question. So you mentioned that SMB should be less reliant on agencies and try to build the capacity in-house. But with new regulations that are coming up, for example, iOS updates, or how we're gradually moving towards a cookie-less world, these agencies tend to have proprietary technology to track customers' online behavior, and building that kind of capacity internally can be very exhausting financially. So how can we as in-house marketers deal with this problem?
ये वो एजेंसी की स्टोरी है. इट्स नॉट ट्रू 99.99% ऑफ द टाइम. सो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट यू नीड टू डिस्काउंट दैट, राइट? कि कोई आके यदि आपको बताता है कि मैं मतलब डेटाबेस क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ ये वो, 99.99% ऑफ द टाइम इट इज़ अ स्टोरी. एंड सेकंड, आई विल बी वेरी scared to work with somebody who is using somebody else's data to kind of drive my sales. So it would actually be a red flag for me. So if an agency comes and pitches कि हम data track कर रहे हैं या फिर brand का data है हमारे पास इस space में, and we will kind of I would be very, so there's no easy way to do this, right? And giving it to an agency 99% of the time it does not work. So it is not like by giving it to an agency you are assured of your success. In fact, if I were to bet on something, I would rather bet on building that capability, right? There might be few things that you would want to outsource. कि ठीक है मतलब ये मैं कर रहा हूँ and this I want to outsource. But outsourcing the entire thing or outsourcing without understanding कि what the mechanics is, it does not work.
Okay, since you mentioned about iOS and all, थोड़ा technical answer देता हूँ so that clarification हो जाए when you are negotiating with the agency. You run ads by yourself क्या by any chance? No, but you understand when I use the first party, third party. Okay, first things first, iOS innovation जब आया, all the marketers have moved toward top of the funnel tracking. Okay, so which means basically this. And let me talk about from the apps perspective. In the apps, everyone was using cost per registration or cost per first purchase tracking or calculation. कि okay, user आया, install किया, account बना दिया, तो उसके ऊपर मैं payout दूंगा या whatever my tracking of the customer acquisition cost is. iOS पे I'm not able to understand कि okay cost per registration कितना है, but I can do understand what is my CPM, cost per impression, cost per click, cost per install. Everyone in the network who are actually decent and legit marketers have moved towards the top of the funnel calculation. Agencies आके हमें भी pitch किए हुए हैं कि attribution होगा ये होगा. No, you cannot beat. Like you are basically saying कि okay मैं Facebook को beat करूँगा attribution में क्योंकि मैं agency हूँ और मैंने कुछ निकाला हुआ है. It cannot happen. That is one. So just discount that factor was what Dhiraj exactly said. Point number 2, you as a company, you want the first party data on your website, not agency coming on board. So for you, emails are very, very important. Do not give that email to anyone. Because at least what I have heard some agencies keep on doing is, हमें affiliate रख लो, we will be the mid funnel. What we will do is we'll cluster your data and we'll sell that cluster to other third parties and make money out of it. I don't want to do that because मेरा खर्चा उसमें जा रहा है. So stay away from that. That is just a story. What exactly Dhiraj said.
Thank you.
We are a home furnishing brand. So far we have grown predominantly through word of mouth, and the last 2 years we have started expanding in retail, offline retail stores. Now predominantly we invested for marketing in terms of Instagram. Now what's happening is we geographically are expanding. Okay, I don't know, and we are also seeing that that ROS has come down, and we have slowly started diversifying into Google because we need footfalls to our stores as well. My question is, how relevant still is the other modes of marketing, which is like your BTLs and the other categories which is used predominantly post the pre the digital. So how important is it, and what is your suggestions on that?
So again, I have a contrarian view on this, right? Especially for smaller brands, startup brands, right? Taking the customer from online to offline is very difficult, right? A customer who is seeing your brand online, unless until he's closing the sale online, वो marketing effort wasted है. If I were you, I would not spend any significant amount of money online. I will invest all my money in BTL. On making sure that whenever he or she is coming to my dealer's store or the retail store or in the area where the dealer is, I would be spending a lot of money or almost entirely my money on BTL, because कभी भी वो journey नहीं होता है, right? While omnichannel and a lot of these buzzwords are there, but they're just buzzwords, right? A lot of these don't have any basic standing in terms of business. तो ये बहुत ही मुश्किल है. आपने कभी किया है क्या कि आपने कुछ कोई नया ब्रांड फेसबुक पे देखा हो एंड देन आप उसके स्टोर में जाके ढूंढ के खरीदा है आपने कभी?
No, it's predominantly you check online.
It's just that. So we are also same customers, right? हमें लगता है कि कस्टमर कहीं कोई दूसरे प्लैनेट से आया है, वैसा नहीं है. It's you and me are the customer. So if we have not done it, that I have seen something online and then gone and bought something offline, then how do you expect your customer to do it?
True, but we are on both. Like if you look at 2 years back, our sales share is almost 50-50. Our website contributed 50% and the stores. But as the store numbers increase, the skew is moving towards offline. So still there is a big chunk of volume coming from online, but sure, the stores are also gaining more importance. So that's why I asked.
So online, I would look at it differently, right? While there'll be some rub-off, I look at my online business separately, I look at my offline business separately, I look at my online marketing budget separately, I look at my offline marketing budget separately. Whatever brand awareness that you're creating, obviously there'll be some rub-off on offline, but to expect online to drive a lot of sale offline, especially for a brand in the initial stage, is a far-fetched idea according to me.
Thanks a lot.
Dhiraj, just a follow-up on this question. So, omnichannel and all these things are new buzzwords. What is your take on real-time engagement and do you use any kind of real-time engagement metrics within your products, and has it actually helped you?
So I think one market that we closely follow in terms of real-time engagement and live commerce is China. I think what they are doing there is phenomenal, right? I don't know whether it's a cultural thing, it's a technological thing, or whatever it is, but that's one market that we see where live commerce and a lot of other things have really taken shape. You see a lot of volume numbers coming from there. India, I think it is still in the very initial stages. Even the Flipkarts, Amazons of the world or Myntra of the world, right, have not got it right. They've just started the initiative 6 months, 1 year later. So unless until you are able to create a hack or you are able to create a differentiation which is very, very different, to expect that to give you large numbers, currently I don't think will happen, right? But having said that, I think this is something that will really develop over the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I don't know what the time frame is. And it always is very beneficial if you are able to catch a trend in the initial stage. एक बार सब कर रहे हैं तो उसके बाद उसका एफिकेसी कम हो जाता है, राइट? जब कोविड में 7 का रोआस आ रहा था, 10 का रोआस आ रहा था, तो जो फर्स्ट फ्यू ब्रांड्स थे उनको वो बेनिफिट मिला. आफ्टर 1 or 2 years, now that everybody is doing it, वो algo, it's like the house takes it all. So they make sure that you are on the wrong side of the thing. So I think live commerce or influencer marketing, a lot of these trends are going to come up in the next 2 years. So as a brand, if you are able to drive it, it will be really beneficial. But abhi it hasn't taken off. So abhi, if you spend a lot of money on that, I don't think you'll get the returns. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we have shared enough things not to do. I think some are okay. We are not agency haters, by the way. If anyone is an agency here, मुझे लग रहा है काफी बोल दिया हम लोगों ने. But the idea is to be on a both of the side. क्योंकि obviously, if someday I open an agency, I think what I will not do is sell these ideas which does not make any sense. I still feel top of the marketing is easy to crack. It has been cracked by everyone. Mid funnel marketing is the major thing that needs to be cracked. So ma'am, you asked the first question. I'll just add an end note on that key. If you see a lot of marketing happening, right? No sales. Check your website, not the marketing. One. When I say website, that means page by page. Home page के बाद क्या हो रहा है? What is the drop off? What is the bounce rate? What is the conversion rate? Put it in an Excel sheet. You will get a sense out of it. Put that Excel sheet in terms of traffic. Okay, all the stuff that is coming from Instagram, what is the conversion rate and bounce rate? All of the stuff that is coming from Facebook ads, what is the bounce rate and everything? These jobs are done by data analyst or a conversion rate optimization analyst. They come with that designation. But it's the founder who should be doing on the first date. Generally, at least in my experience, I have seen that founders are called chief growth officer. The reason is primarily this: after culture setting, people handling, admin job, your first priority is कि मुझे पता होना चाहिए मेरे website में क्या हो रहा है. That's all. You cannot rely on your product person or your website person. This cannot be outsourced. No matter whoever you get on board, they will fix the first funnel, not the mid funnel. That's the only thing I will leave the chat with.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. Right. So we are 4 co-founders. And for a long time, we were trying to drive D2C through, our people and through agencies and all that. And then we realized कि नहीं होगा. So one of us, Aditya, who's my co-founder, he was doing a lot of things. We kind of completely put him in driving D2C. So his only job is to make sure that D2C. So for us, D2C is like, well, we look at it as a huge potential, right? We see it kind of contributing 200 crores by next year across our brand. So for us, it is a very big vertical. And Aditya has been made completely in charge of only this. तो उसका पूरा दिन इसी में जाता है कि मतलब कि ROAS क्या आ रहा है, ड्रॉप रेट क्या हो रहा है, इस वेबसाइट में क्या प्रॉब्लम है, इसका चेकआउट कैसे बेटर करें. Unless until top management is kind of completely aligned and is driving that, वो कभी नहीं होगा. So this is not something that can be left to somebody else. It is like a business. So unless until you run it yourself, that efficacy will not come.